If you can just keep your creativity flowing and keep an open mind about what you're getting, that's when you become a great photographer, I think. I think I got it. Oh, so pretty.
I know.
I always miss the coast. Hi, my name is Hallie Cowan Barrera, and I'm a wildlife photographer. I'm headed to Spring Island, South Carolina today, and I'm gonna give you some tips on photographing the local wildlife and walk you through how I edit my images to get that perfect shot. So now let's go through my kit and see what I'll be using today. My camera is a Micro Four Thirds, which is an in-between of a DSLR and a mirrorless. On my camera, I have my favorite lens. It's a wide-angle macro, so I can still get really close to my subject while getting a lot of its habitat. And it's an 8 to 25 millimeter. And then I have my macro. It's a fixed lens, which means it doesn't zoom in or out. It's a 60 millimeter, so I can get pretty close to my subjects, and this is what I'll use most of the time if I want to get a detail on an animal, like the eye or its scales or its skin. One of my most important pieces of equipment, which is my flash. It's one of those things that is really cheap and does make a big difference for photography, especially macro photography. All right, let's go see what we can find. We're gonna be flipping this board. Usually snakes will be under these because they're trying to find like little rodents and other things that might be underneath to feed on, because it's a good hiding place, and also because it's nice and warm in the sun. That metal is conducting heat.
Look at that.
Oh, it's so
beautiful.
pretty.
You gonna get that one?
Handling wildlife is not something you want to do unless you're properly qualified and have a reason to do so. We handle the snakes on Spring Island for research purposes and sometimes for outreach. We know how to do it without causing the animals distress. So this is a corn snake, native to the southeast US. So right now I'm setting my f-stop higher, shutter speed at around like 1/320. Shutter speed is how long you're actually taking the photo for. So even though it says 320 on my camera, it's actually 1/320, and it's 320th of a second. And for this, I want the diffuser like very close to the head. So the f-stop is like how much light gets let into the camera, but it also affects the focal plane. So the higher the number, the larger your focal plane. So the more that will be in focus. So a lower number allows for more blur, and a wider aperture allows for a larger focal plane. So like I said, if I wanted the eye and the nose in focus, I might open up that focal plane and make sure it's parallel so that I can get that. Yeah, that's nice. I almost never buy things new. Like, you don't need all this high-tech stuff, like buying like a $5,000 camera with like a $6,000 lens. Photography is more about making teeny tiny adjustments that make the final image amazing.
There's a black widow right here.
Oh.
I'm gonna try to photograph that.
So here we have a black widow. It's a species of venomous spider. I'll usually try to get close, but with this macro, I don't need to get too close, which is really nice. Like the wide angle, you kind of have to get really close. It also is kind of difficult with all this stuff in front of it to focus and get that face. So I put the f-stop down so that I can see it. And then I'm gonna raise it back up before I actually take the photo so that my flash will light it up and it's not too bright, and hope for the best. It might be escaping. I think we got something. Actually, let me get one on that thing and then we can let it go. I think I got it. Yeah, you're chilling. It's not my favorite photo I've ever taken of a spider, but I do really like how we have its body in focus. And I think that all the pine needles and grass in front of it is interesting. I use a custom ratio. I'll leave it at 4:3. It's good to think about which way your animal is like facing in your frame. So in this case, the spider is like a little bit facing inwards. Usually you want your animals facing into the image. So like if they're on an edge, you want them facing in, not towards the edge of the image. Playing with the saturation a little bit and seeing what that does, because it's a lot of grays and not a ton of color, but we do have like some color in that grass, and I think it adds a nice element to brighten that a little bit. Same with on the spider here. I don't think I'm gonna do anything else to this image. I think this one's good as well. Did you catch it? Look at you guys. Oh, he's cute. Yeah, I'm gonna try to take a head shot of it. We're photographing a skink. It's really tiny, so we're gonna have to get really close to it. And again, using the flash to fill in those shadows and have more control of the light. So I'm switching back to the fixed macro lens again, just so I can get a really up close focus shot of the head. And for reference, 60 millimeters is kind of similar to the angle we see, because the human eye sees at around 50 millimeters. Oh, that's nice. With this skink, it's a portrait, so I really want the details on the face to pop. That's really what I'm gonna focus on, especially that shine there, because I don't want that to distract too much from the details of the scales on its face or the eye. So I'm going to brighten it, play with the contrast a little bit. I'm looking at this blue. I think I will darken it a little bit. It really draws more attention to the face, which is what we want. I'm just gonna crop it a little bit because there's a little, I don't even know what it is in the corner. It might be my finger, and get rid of some of that dead space on the other side. This image is done. I like the colors. There you go. I feel like I always go into a shoot thinking, okay, this is the kind of image I want, and it almost never becomes my best shot. A lot of times I will try to get a wide angle with the head very close to the lens. Most of the time that just doesn't happen because they're animals, they move. There's elements we can't control, but if you can just like keep your creativity flowing and keep an open mind about what you're getting, that's when you become a great photographer, I think. If you want to see the adventure that I went on to get these images, you can catch that episode on the BBC Earth Explore YouTube channel.